Welcome to $100 Plus Mileage, your podcast to learn about New Hampshire bills that don't quite make the headlines but still might impact you. It's hard to believe we are already halfway through the legislative session with crossover day already in the rearview mirror. I'm Anna Brown from Citizens Count.
And I'm Mike Dunbar from Citizens Count. Anna, if you lived in an American city around 2021, you'll remember how all of a sudden electric scooters seemed to be everywhere. As our listeners may know, I'm a musician who spends a lot of time in Nashville during that time, and let me tell you, those scooters were an absolute menace to society. Particularly in a tourism hub like that, you had plenty of, shall we say, scooting while intoxicated going on, not to mention the fact that there would frequently be scooters abandoned on the sidewalk, making the whole thing quite controversial.
I live in Manchester, and I swear you give someone an e-bike and they instantly become an outlaw, or anyway, a traffic outlaw. Plus, there's a troubling overlap between people riding e-scooters and people who blare music from their phone. But to be fair, I've never ridden one. They look really fun, and I'm just a jealous hater.
They are fun. I have tried it. So today's bill we're going to take a look at is related to those micromobility devices, as they're sometimes called, but not with cracking down on drunken scooting or thoughtless operators leaving their rented scooters lying around. Instead, we're talking about batteries.
Aren't there concerns around them spontaneously exploding?
Yes, you're way ahead of me, but let's set the table here. In recent years, companies like Bird and Lime unleashed a fleet of scooters available for rent using a smartphone app, and many cities hosted shared e bikes to help cut down on automotive traffic. Since then, the popularity of scooters and e bikes for commuting has continued to grow. Some worry about the safety of these mobility devices, however, since their rechargeable lithium ion batteries can catch fire if improperly built or cared for. Now, the New Hampshire legislature is considering SB 365, a bill that prohibits sales of electric bicycles, scooters, and lithium ion batteries for electric vehicles that have not been safety certified.
I do seem to remember that time when the news was full of hoverboard batteries exploding into flames. This was right around Christmas. And of course, every time I fly somewhere, I get asked if I have a lithium ion battery in my luggage. What's the story with these batteries?
Okay, so lithium ion batteries power much of our modern lives, from smartphones and laptops to electric vehicles. While these batteries are generally very safe, they can be dangerous under certain circumstances. With the rising popularity of electric mobility devices like scooters and e bikes, there is a growing market for cheap replacement batteries, including second use reconditioned batteries. There are also, of course, counterfeit batteries on the market that have not undergone proper certification.
So, this sounds like it's less of a concern for batteries bought from reputable companies that have their batteries certified and more about cheap recycled batteries that may not have undergone such testing.
Exactly. The results of storing a scooter with a faulty battery indoors can be particularly dangerous. If the mechanism that stops the battery from charging once it's full is damaged or defective, the battery can overheat and literally burst into flame. This can also occur if batteries are exposed to extreme heat or are damaged or punctured. Countless videos online show how these fires can envelop an indoor space in a matter of seconds. Anna, you're our policy expert extraordinaire. Talk to me about this bill. What does it mean exactly when they say a battery needs to be certified? And who certifies batteries anyway?
SB 365 cites the Underwriters Laboratory standards used to certify batteries. Underwriters Laboratories famously certifies all sorts of consumer products. Many of the gadgets in your home likely already bear the UL logo. The bill cites Underwriters Laboratory standards 2271, 2272, and 2849, all of which specifically address electric mobility devices like scooters and e bikes. The bill also provides room for New Hampshire Fire Marshal to choose a similar standard, whatever that might be.
Have any other states or municipalities talked about regulating these batteries?
Yes, last year, New York City Mayor Eric Adams enacted rules requiring battery packs to be third party certified using the same three Underwriters Laboratory standards mentioned in SB 365. I should also mention SB 365 includes a fine for those who counterfeit Underwriters Laboratory certification. The penalty for selling an uncertified battery or e bike would be $250 for the first offense and $1,000 for second or further offenses.
Okay, so that would definitely make me think twice about starting a knockoff scooter battery business on the side. Not that I was really considering that anyway. What was the Senate committee hearing like for this bill? Did anyone speak in favor of it? What were the pro arguments aside from scooters bursting into flame equals bad?
Which is pretty obvious. Proponents argue SB 365 is common sense approach to protecting New Hampshire residents. Battery fires are especially dangerous in high density urban environments where these products are most popular. At the hearing, bill sponsor Senator David Waters, a Democrat from Dover, explained that the bill is based on guidance from federal consumer protection agencies and would help consumers know the battery they're buying is safe. New Hampshire Fire Marshal Sean Toomey also testified in favor of the bill at the Senate hearing, saying the bill would put New Hampshire ahead of the curve by establishing fire safety standards that protect the Granite State.
It's a good sign that the fire marshal is on board with this idea. I guess I'm more interested to hear about the con arguments for this bill since the pros seem kind of obvious.
So, no one spoke at the Senate committee hearing in opposition to this bill, although two people did sign in against it. Since lithium ion batteries are found in a huge variety of electronics, some may feel the bill unfairly targets micromobility devices, which studies show reduce users' carbon footprint. Others argue certification requirements at the state level won't have much impact because consumers will still be able to find cheap, uncertified e bikes through online retailers, often based in China. Federal action might be necessary. Other possible interventions include public education campaigns and safety regulations about how to safely charge and store e bikes. By the way, I learned this week you should charge them away from windows and doors, which makes sense if it explodes over your fire exit. Pro tip for you right there.
All right, listeners. Well, you know the drill. SB 365 will have a public hearing before the House Commerce and Consumer Affairs Committee on April 24th. You can find out how to make your voice heard at this hearing by visiting our website, citizenscount.org. And with that, it's time for Only in New Hampshire. What do you have for us today, Anna?
So, today's historical factoid reminds us that automobiles were once burgeoning new technology, and as it turns out, an important innovator in the field of automobiles had his shop right here in New Hampshire. In fact, inventor George Alvin Long created one of the first automobiles. Although it's a contentious debate as to who can be said built the first automobile, so we won't wade into that. While he lived in Massachusetts, he worked on his invention in a machine shop in Hinsdale, New Hampshire. At the site of his old shop is a historical marker that reads, in the Holman and Merriman machine shop opposite this location, George A. Long of Northfield, Massachusetts, in 1875 built a steam-propelled four-wheel automobile with a fifth wheel for steering. This vehicle, fired by hardwood charcoal, had a bicycle-type frame, ordinary wooden wheels, solid rear axle, and could maintain 30 miles per hour, roads permitting. This early inventor patented and built another automobile propelled by gasoline, now in the Smithsonian Institution. Special thanks to the Cow Hampshire blog where we found this fun story.
Okay, so it seems to me that a steam powered car would also have a tendency to blow up unexpectedly.
I mean maybe we're being a little hard on the scooters here. Definitely, innovation comes at a price. I will also throw out there like there are problems with the e-scooters, but they've definitely been adopted more broadly than say Segways, right? So they've really hit on something here. Going back to the story though, a fifth wheel for steering. I mean, I never appreciated that my steering wheel operated the actual wheels. I think it's so it was almost like a rudder on a ship, I guess. And also you were firing coal in the back and there were wooden reels. It just really seems like a lot of things could go wrong here.
Yeah, I don't know that you were reducing your carbon footprint, but who knows? Well, yeah, and what happened to the Segway too, right? That was another New Hampshire inventor, Dean Kamen, right?
It was. And now it seems that I just hear stories about people I know using them on tours like in Washington D.C. or Disney World, and then for some reason they just feel that they have to try to crash it because like there was the whole thing where it's like they're uncrashable. I feel they never should have told that to the public because now all I hear is people being like, I bet I can crash it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever said that scooters were uncrashable, but people still seem to enjoy proving that point too. All right, well that wraps it up for this episode of $100 plus mileage. But you can find more information and episodes at citizenscount.org. This podcast is made possible by a generous grant from Northeast Delta Dental. We'd also like to thank Franklin Pierce University for producing and the Granite State News Collaborative for hosting. Our theme music is composed by me, Mike Dunbar. And lastly, we thank you for giving us a listen and thinking about how you can be part of what makes New Hampshire by the people, for the people.